morning, friends. Hyperion Carnivore here, and another drive and talk. I'm on my way to the gym. So, the last talk I talked about the carbohydrate, and today I want to talk about counting calories. The old calories in, calories out. You'll love it. So first of all, again, I'm a bodybuilder, so I understand that there are, and a lot of the people who follow me or are friends with me on my social media accounts are also bodybuilders, and they're very dogmatic about carbohydrates and calories in, calories out kind of thing. And I always want to make sure that I am differentiating between the two contexts. So primarily, first and foremost, even though I'm a bodybuilder, when I talk about things like calories and carbohydrates and those sorts of things, I'm really referring to the 99% of the population who are not bodybuilders or whatever. I'm just making a number up, but 90% of the population has at least one metabolic illness. They're at least overweight. 70% are overweight. Approaching 50% are obese, and not to mention pre-diabetic, diabetic, just catastrophic amounts of people are metabolically sick. These are all metabolic disorders. Being overweight is a metabolic disorder. Diabetes, metabolic. Cancer, metabolic. Heart disease, metabolic. Alzheimer's, metabolic. Dementia, metabolic. It's all metabolic. Basically, any non-commutable disease, like unless you have the flu or something, but any kind of chronic illness is metabolic. It has nothing to do with genetics. Genetics might make you more predisposed to get one metabolic illness over another, but all the metabolic illnesses have the same root cause, which is putting stuff in your body that causes inflammation and hyperinsulinemia, which are very often interconnected. So I'm talking to those people, not the bodybuilders, even though I'm a bodybuilder. So I do understand both sides of the context. A lot of bodybuilders are like, when I talk about calories in, calories out being total nonsense, they're like, what? So the laws of thermodynamics you don't believe in the laws of thermodynamics, and here's where the cognitive dissonance kicks in for them. The human body is not a bomb calorimeter. It's not a closed system. You put a macronutrient into a bomb calorimeter and you burn it, I guess, and the amount of heat it gives off tells you the amount of calories that are in it or something like that. And the calories in, calories out theory basically says that I could eat 500 calories of Oreos or 500 calories of ribeye, or even if you want to go way outside the food, the food paradigm, I could eat 500 calories of sawdust. Which, by the way, if you ever see cellulose powder in the ingredients in the garbage that you buy, that's sawdust. They put sawdust in it. Sometimes as an anti-caking agent, quote unquote, which is just another way of saying cheap filler. But yeah, they put sawdust in your food. So anytime you see cellulose, you're eating sawdust. So they're saying if I eat 500 calories of sawdust, it's the same as eating 500 calories of eggs. It's just calories are calories, and it's just absolute, total, complete nonsense. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, counting calories, your food intake is very, very controlled, very, very dialed in. It's very specific down to the milligram, or gram, of beef or fish or white rice or whatever. It's, you're very, very specific down to small, tiny portions of it, so your coach will have you eating 300 milligrams of beef and 600 milligrams of white rice or whatever. It's very, very controlled. And calories, I won't deny, even though they're very inaccurate, but counting calories in that context can be beneficial for a bodybuilder in tracking how much food and what kinds of foods that you're eating in a contest prep context. But if you're overweight or otherwise metabolically ill and you want to get healthy, counting calories is a great way to fail. It's an awesome way to fail, because you'll just say, just eat less, move more. And by the way, the eat less, move more paradigm was concocted by Coca-Cola. They put a study out. So thank them for that. Now I'm stuck in traffic. Yeah. So you're going to suffer, and probably 90 plus out of 100 will fail counting calories, and just be, wow, I'm just not losing weight. I'm just not doing good. Because different macronutrients, carbs, fat, and protein, not to mention the additives that they add, like MSG and things like that mess with your body's hormonal processes. And I think MSG shuts off the switch in your brain that tells you when you've had enough to eat. Like it's a total hormonal shit show, right? So they put these things in your food, and you're eating them, and you're trying to lose weight, and you're like, I'm counting calories, and I'm working out, and I'm just not losing weight, because a calorie is not a calorie, especially when, for the vast majority of people, if you want to lose weight and get healthy, you have to cut out the inflammatory and insulin spiking non-foods that you're eating, and that's going to be mostly refined carbs, seed oils, and sugar. And you probably should just cut out the carbohydrates, period, until you get to where you want to be. And the less carbohydrates you consume, the easier time you will have getting healthy and losing weight. Like I said in my previous talk, carbohydrates might have like a use in a bodybuilding context, but for the vast majority of us, the carbohydrate is a starvation food. You don't find carbohydrates out in the wild. Nobody seems to actually understand this. They think we could just say whatever we want in our minds, and that'll make it true, like that. So what if we evolved eating almost entirely meat and fish? So what if carbohydrates are scarce in the wild? They're not scarce anymore, but your body, you don't get to send a signal to your body that changes its biology and physiology. It just doesn't work that way. Physiologically, biologically, you're designed to eat mostly meat. Eating berries in season, if you really want to, is probably fine, because they were only available for a few weeks out of the year. If you go out into the wild in the spring, you might find some huckleberries, you might find some dewberries. Around here, there's dewberries growing all over my property. There's also huckleberries. I could eat those for a few weeks. They'll be gone. They'll be gone rather quickly, actually. I mean, like they might, the birds eat them. I'm like, oh, cool, there's some dewberries growing over here, and I'll go back and they'll just be gone. And I'm like, I know they didn't ripen, fall off, the birds eat them, so you got to get them before the birds do. It's very frustrating. There's not a lot of food, plant-based, in the wild, and every time I take a picture of a fungus, I'm like, is this chicken of the woods? And I'm like, nope, don't eat that, you'll get sick. Is this God, what's the name of that? I don't know. Every time I take a picture of a mushroom and say, is this edible? They're like, no, that's not edible. It looks something edible. It looks like a chanterelle. Chanterelles, whatever you call them, they're big around here. I see them all the time, and they're not chanterelles. They're something poisonous. Most of the stuff in nature that's not meat and fish, it's poisonous. Sorry to say, it's not. You're not designed to eat it. And if you're trying to get healthy and well, then you want to eat like your ancestors ate, as close to that as possible. So you want to get those carbohydrates out of your diet until you get well. If you want to add in some potatoes and white and rice, then whatever. It all depends on your level of your desired optimal health. I desire to be fully as optimal as possible, so I don't eat it at all. I don't eat white. I don't even take a bite of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even eat plants. Earlier, I have a meal prep business, and earlier this week, when I was, making my meal preps, I think I might have ingested some cauliflower and some mushrooms and onions, and I didn't like the reaction it had on me. It made me gassy, and it made me bloated, and that's not the biggest deal in the world, but long term, it's just not good. It's not a good thing. Not a good place to be. So, but in terms of, I'm not saying if you're trying to lose weight, don't eat broccoli or asparagus or anything. That's fine. If that's all you're trying to do is get rid of your metabolic disorders. Those types of vegetables won't cause metabolic disorders. They'll cause like your eyesight or your skin quality or your joints to ache, and you'll get like arthritis from the oxalates. Those sorts of things. It's like a long-term nagging chronic issues. Like you'll get creaky knees as you get older, and everybody just attributes that to to wear and tear when it's really just the oxalates and those sorts of things in the vegetables. So you don't have to worry about that if you're trying to get like metabolically healthy. So eat your broccoli and stuff, but I hate this town. This town is so terrible to drive through. But you want to get rid of those. You definitely want to get rid of bread and pasta and donuts and all that kind of crap. Pop-Tarts, pizza rolls, bagels, anything refined carbohydrates, cereal, oatmeal, get it all out. You probably want to hold off on the white rice and sweet potatoes and whatnot too, just at least until you get healthy. So, but the last thing you want to do, the last thing you really need to do is count calories. Because if you prioritize protein and fat, especially, and it's all hormones. It's all hormones. Your body doesn't count calories. Your body has a hormonal reaction to what you eat, and the hormonal reaction is what determines how long you're satiated for, and how hungry you get, and where and how your body stores the foods that you're eating. So if you're eating stuff that spikes your insulin, well, insulin is a fat storage hormone. So you're not going to burn fat, you're going to store it. And insulin tends to spike and then crash, and when it crashes, your blood sugar is all out of whack, and your body is saying, I have not received the nutrients I need to be optimal, to be healthy, vibrant. I need more food, and that's why you get hungry. You eat a bowl of cereal and you're hungry an hour later. But I eat, sausage, eggs, and butter for breakfast, and I'm not hungry for hours. Matter of fact, that's the last time I've eaten. It's 12:10 right now. I haven't eaten since 8 o'clock, and I'm not hungry right now. And I'm on my way to the gym, and I'm gonna, I'm probably hungry after I work out. But I'm good. I ain't hungry. I'm not dizzy. I'm not lightheaded. I don't feel sick because I haven't eaten in over 4 hours. So it's all hormonal. So and it's nearly impossible to get fat. It's nearly impossible not, if you have weight to lose, it's nearly impossible not to lose it when you're on a keto protocol. And it's not because you're taking in less calories. It's because it might be because you're taking in less calories, but like you won't have to worry about counting your calories because your body will tell you when it's had enough to eat. Like when I was in my bulking phase in keto, and then earlier this year I was trying to bulk on carnivore, I couldn't do it. I mean, I did it, but it was very, very uncomfortable because you have to eat more than your body wants you to eat. And when your body doesn't want you to eat because you've had enough to eat, it's almost like your gag reflex is turned on. So you could sit in front of a ribeye, perfectly cooked medium rare ribeye with butter dripping off of it, and you just feel sick. You just don't want to eat it. It's gross. Your body's like, no, you don't need it. And then you have to force it down, and it's very, very uncomfortable. So I have an Instagram friend, Carnivore JT, who is currently right now eating 4,000 calories a day and not exercising, trying to get fat on a carnivore diet. He's chugging butter and eating nothing but red meat, fatty red meat, and he's not exercising, and he's trying to get fat. And I don't know, he might put on some fat weight a little bit because he's not active, But I can tell you right now, he is torturing himself trying to eat that much. It is very uncomfortable. You just don't want it. Whereas, you can just scarf down a whole box of cereal or a whole box of donuts and you get a little stomach ache and everything, but you're not really like, maybe like a half an hour later you can get back at it, because your body, you're not feeding your body and your body is actually starving. Fat people are starving. You think they're just constantly feeding themselves, but all they're doing is storing energy, because they're not getting any nutrients and the body is thinking that it's in some kind of starvation phase. There's no food for it to eat. So it's saying, so it breaks your metabolism down so you're burning less energy and it starts storing, all that excess sugar. It gets stored as fat. So you really, really want to emphasize eating your macros, your fat and your protein, and that will keep you satiated longer. It'll keep you satisfied longer. It'll curb your cravings. You won't be grazing throughout the day and snacking, and you won't be hungry all the time. You'll be hungry when you're supposed to be hungry, and you can eat as much as you want, as long as you don't, eat the carbs. You can eat as much as you want, and your body will not really let you want to eat more than it really needs to eat. It's just how it works. It has nothing to do with calories. It has to do with catering to your body's needs and letting the hormonal process function the way it's supposed to function. So you don't see fat animals in the wild. You don't see fat lions. The lion's not constantly going around murdering gazelles and overeating. This town, sorry, throwing off. We're just gonna sit here all day, aren't we? Because you can't make a left turn. New Jersey road rage kicks in. So I'm about to get to the gym. I gotta get to work. Okay. But if you're trying to lose weight, the calories are absolutely meaningless. All you gotta do is prioritize protein and cut out the carbs, and your body will guarantee your body will do the rest. And some people lose weight immediately. Some people kind of stall on the weight loss a little bit because you're healing. You have a million things wrong with you. It's not just weight. You got a million things wrong with you. Your body might, emphasize healing those things before the weight loss actually kicks in. So focus on the non-scale victories. Focus on how you feel. Focus on your appearance. Especially, you should be in the gym while you're, to accompany your change in diet. Focus on how you're looking and feeling. If you feel like you're sleeping better, you'll get more sleep. You'll have more mental clarity. These are all things that are victories. And trust the process, be consistent, and the change will come. It's guaranteed. It can't not happen. It would be a violation of the laws of nature, the laws of biology and physiology, for it not to happen eventually. If it's not happening right away, your body's busy doing other things that it needs to do before it'll do that. So I'm at the gym. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.